After watching this video, you will know exactly what you have to do in order to manifest anything that you have desired. I am damn sure that whoever you are, if you have watched my videos and are following my videos regularly, then your life has changed a lot. You have this realization that it is all about changing the state of being. It is all about changing your current beliefs and assumptions about yourself and your desires. You might have had previous successes with the law. They might be big or small. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is to break free from your current state of being and rise to a higher state of being. By higher state, I simply mean a state of being where you already have your desires. Getting your wish fulfilled and staying there is what it takes to make your dream a reality. It does not matter if your circumstances are opposite to what you desire. It does not matter if the thing you desire is closer or farther. It will manifest once you accept the desired state of being as true. Today's video will clear almost 90% of the doubts that you face in your journey of manifestation. So, stick with me as I reveal some things that might make it click for you. To start with, let me first remind you of one of Neville Goddard's best quotes. Because creation is finished, what you desire already exists. It is excluded from view because you can see only the contents of your own consciousness. It is the function of an assumption to call back the excluded view and restore full vision. It is not the world, but your assumptions that change. An assumption brings the invisible into sight. It is nothing more nor less than seeing with the eye of God, that is, imagination. This one quote sums up the manifestation process. The one who can understand this knows what manifestation is about. Let me break it down for you. When Neville Goddard says, because creation is finished, what you desire already exists, it is excluded from view because you can see only the contents of your own consciousness. Here, Neville says that anything that you desire already exists. It came to your mind as a possibility because it already exists. Now you may be wondering, where does it exist? It exists with God. It exists in the form of infinite possibility. It exists in a parallel reality. You just have to understand that the desire came to you because it is possible. It is excluded from view because you can see only the contents of your own consciousness. The reason it is not yet physically present in your reality is because you only see the things you believe in. Just for example, tell me, have you seen a picture where an image of the number 6 or 9 is painted on a floor? The person on one side is saying that it is number 6, while the other says it is number 9. Do you recall this image? The majority of you have seen this image floating in your social media feed. But for those who didn't just write the number 6 on a piece of paper and look at it, then rotate the paper, you will be able to see the number 9. In general, we call them perceptions. This is the reason why many people experiencing the same situations have a different story. Imagine a situation where an event happens that doesn't even involve them. They are just standing and watching it. Afterwards, if you record their interviews, they will tell you a story that would be kind of similar, but the details would be very different. It is like the information was presented to them, but they were wearing colored glass. Some were wearing brown-tinted glass, while others had blue-tinted glass, and yet there was a person who was wearing black-tinted glass. The event happened. They know it. The story was kind of similar, but the details and the meaning they conveyed were different. The beliefs and assumptions are those tinted glasses. These are the filters that leave you with meanings and stories about situations. For example, the videos I present to you can be perceived differently by people holding different beliefs. People who have experienced the law, the people who manifested some outcomes simply by imagining, will know that what I am saying is true. They will know that it works. We cannot explain it with logic, but it does work, and it has worked. But there would be a group of people for whom this didn't work. They experienced failure, and therefore they will tell you that it doesn't work. They will spill out their stories because they hold different beliefs and assumptions. The information is presented, and how you perceive it is due to the filter in your mind. The filter is just your beliefs and assumptions. No one is wrong or right. They are just seeing what they believe. It is because they can only see the contents of their own consciousness. I hope I explained this line beautifully. I am proud of the way I simplify things. Well, jokes apart, after those lines, Neville says, it is the function of an assumption to call back the excluded view and restore full vision. Now this is where things get interesting. Here, Neville says that our assumptions make us look at situations differently. He is telling you about the filter. He is talking about the different colored glass. He is telling you that your assumptions help you look at the things that you were not seeing before. The things that were excluded from your perspective are brought to you by your assumptions. Like in our example, if a man was looking at the image of number 6 from one perspective and he was arguing with another, if he changed his assumptions and landed in the shoes of another, he would be able to see the number 9 as well. He would be able to view the image from another's perspective. I know you are getting that happy feeling inside of you while reading this because something is clicking within you. But it will click fully if you understand the next few lines. Next, Neville says, it is not the world, but your assumptions that change. An assumption brings the invisible into sight. It is nothing more nor less than seeing with the eye of God, which is imagination. You have to leave the physical world alone. You have to leave your current circumstances. You have to leave your current limitations. You don't have to change these circumstances. You don't have to change the world. You only have to change the assumption. You only have to change the perspective. And you only have to change the feelings. Like in our example, the image of number 6 doesn't have to be changed. It doesn't have to be touched. Only by standing in the shoes of another person did you change your assumptions. And when your assumptions changed, you looked at the image as number 9. The assumption brought the invisible into sight. The assumption changed everything. It is the assumption that needs to be changed. It is about changing conceptions. It is about changing the dominant state. It was never about changing the physical world. It was never about changing anything on the outside. It is about changing the inside. Lastly, Neville shares a way of making it happen. He tells you to see it with God's eye, which is simply imagination. He asked you to imagine a different outcome. He asked you to imagine yourself already having your desire. He asked you to look at the world from a different perspective. He asked you to imagine a different you. He asked you to imagine already having your desire. My friends, this is what the quote meant. This is how you manifest things. You probably read success stories, and you probably hear people manifesting things just by changing assumptions. You have read and watched videos. It is not like there are only 2, 3 stories on the internet, and some companies are trying to sell their products. There are hundreds of stories that are shared by people like you from every part of the world. It has worked for them. They made it possible by changing their dominant state, and it can work for you too if you start changing your dominant assumption. But don't do it by force. I have seen people trying to apply force. Even Neville said, "Stop trying to change the world since it is only the mirror." Man's attempt to change the world by force is as fruitless as breaking a mirror in the hope of changing his face. Leave the mirror and change your face. Leave the world alone and change your conception of yourself. The reflection then will be satisfactory. Changing the world by applying force is fruitless. Force is applied when you are taking on a school assignment that has to be done tonight. Otherwise, you will fail. Force is applied when you start thinking that you have to affirm or visualize thousands of times. Force is applied when your state of being is not improving but is declining. The signs of it are anxiety, worry, sadness, and the fact that you are always in a hurry. While the effortless way is to get into a state where you will eventually feel fulfilled, you will feel relaxed, and signs of it are peace, love, and joy. Now the signs are not limited to them. The point is that if the imaginal acts are becoming like a task that you have to complete and you feel stressed because of it, then you are applying force. Someone came and told you that they affirmed 3 times a day and for X number of times, and it worked for them. You started doing the same thing in the hope that it would also work for you. Well, manifesting is not about hoping. It is about being. It is about accepting the new state as true. The quantity does not matter. You can do your imaginary act once or 1,000,000 times. It does not matter if it is not shifting you to a different state. Quality is always superior to quantity. It does not matter if something works for one, it will work for another as well. I have noticed that guided meditations work best for me. It helps me relax and imagine. Music also helps me, not the singers and their lyrics, but simply the relaxing, calm sounds. Someone writes something on a piece of paper and places it under their pillow, and then they get it. Some change their phone's wallpaper. Some play affirmation tapes at low volume while sleeping. Now, it does not mean that one is right and another is wrong. It simply means that it works for them. You will eventually find your own way. Everyone does. I have made a video that includes a guided meditation to manifest a call from a specific person. Just give it a try and see how it works for you, as many people have gotten results from it. Just click on the first video that appears at the end of the screen.